the camera.
And I'm gonna tell a story. So who wants to hold it? Here, I'll hold it.
Oh, look at your shadow.
So
That's gonna scare you.
wait, can you put it down so I can like?
See, that's right.
But then I won't be able to see you.
No, I just want you to put it down.
After I talk about Holly Camp.
So
No, that's the one about hold up. Tell me the Holly Camp boy.
But this guy, he was Philip was talking to they're camping.
Oh,
man.
so
For the boys.
let me tell a story.
Alpha, shut the door.
Yeah.
Alpha, shut the door. Close the door.
Is this a scary movie? Is this scary?
Fia.
You want the what?
Fia.
Can I see it?
Fia.
Yes.
I'm moving.
You look like a floating jersey.
Really?
All I can see is your jersey. Can't see your face. Can't see your arms.
Can you see me?
No.
What do you want? The worms. Oh.
Okay, go.
No, look, Bridget, look.
Okay, can you
look,
put it
look.
down? You guys can face it to
Look
whoever. I just
black.
want to tell a
Look at
story though.
Here, put it down.
You
Put it
should
down.
face it to me and hold it.
Hold it like that.
Hey.
Whoa.
So
Shut up.
this is a true scary story though. This is what my cousin told me from Samoa when I first met her.
Can I go in the room then?
No. So what
Bye.
happened?
I like going Brittany.
Hello, look at his shadow.
So there's this couple, right? They're super rich.
I got my hair.
Exactly.
That is.
Okay, pay attention. Hello. So there's this couple and they're super rich and they work really hard.
Can you move your white arm? You're shining it too much.
They're so sorry. They work really hard to give their son whatever he wants, you know. So the mom and dad are both always working, and the son, you know, just goes to school and does his thing. So they live like in the middle of nowhere. There's like just woods. You know, they live just down this long driveway, but a lot of cars pass by it. Yeah, but their house is just like right in the middle, and there's just woods everywhere. So what happens is one day the boy is upset, you know, because his parents are working so much, he never gets to really see them or spend time with them. So he's just sitting in his room, and it's a nice day outside, so he goes outside and he has his earphones and he's listening to it, and it's on full blast, you know. And he sits in the driveway and he's just sitting there listening to the music, and then he's looking at the sky, and then he was like, okay, I'm just gonna lie down. So he laid down, just, you know, on the driveway. And the dad was stupid enough to not check if anybody was in the driveway. So dad needed to go to work, and when he reversed, he ran over his son's legs.
Oh.
Yeah. So, and it was all an accident, you know. And the son went to the hospital, and when the son was in the hospital, you know, the mom and dad were so hurt, like they couldn't believe, you know, their only son is in the hospital. And they were just like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do, you know? You ran over his foot and all of that. And the husband's like, I don't know, he shouldn't be lying in the driveway. And then, so the husband and the wife started arguing a lot, you know? But they would always go to the hospital to see their son because he's hurt. But then when they started arguing, the mom and the dad was just like, fuck you, you know, frick you, whatever. And it just got to the point where the parents didn't want to see the son anymore. But you know how he's in the hospital and he's trying to recover. Like, he has no legs whatsoever. Like, the dad ran over, like, right underneath his thighs.
Like, I don't need a visual.
So what happened was, when the parents, like, started arguing, then they found a way to not see each other. And that was to start going back to work. So they both started going to work. And the son was actually happy, though, that he was in the hospital and his parents were there, because that was the only time he would spend time with them, you know, when they came over to the hospital to see him. But when they stopped coming, that's when the son started, like, getting really mad and hurt.
What?
Like, he started growing, like, his heart was, like, growing with hate, you know, because his parents wasn't coming anymore. So he just sit inside the hospital room and just, he was so nasty to the nurse and the doctors when they came in. He would always just be like,
It's on.
what the hell do you want?
It went on and it came off.
And then, what the hell do you want? Get away. And, like, they're always trying to, like, we're trying to help you. And he's like, I don't care. Leave me alone. So eventually, you know, the parents just stopped coming to see him. But they were still working to pay off the bills and stuff. So the son's inside the hospital room all by himself all the time. The only people who ever really comes in was the nurses and the doctors. His nails started to grow so long. Like, because he was so angry, and his nails would just grow so long. Like, you know how those witches' nails, you know, they start to curl when they grow long enough?
Yeah.
His nails started to curl. That's how long it started to get. And what happened was the nurse would always the nurse was told to, you know, clip his nails.
Shut the door.
So she would come and she would try to clip his nails, but the boy was like, you know, like I said, he was nasty, so he was like, get away from me. So like all the other nurses had to come and
shut the door.
And so one day the nurse like ends up clipping his nails, y'all. It was like 10 inches long and it was curled. And she cut it, like she spent hours cutting it all the way down to like where he had just like a little bit nails, you know.
I know I wasn't the only one that heard that, so somebody gotta go turn on the light.
No, okay, so what happened was the nurse cuts all his nails off, right?
You heard that.
And then the next day,
What?
as soon as the nurse came in to give him breakfast, right?
Whatever.
What did she see? His nails grew right back 10 inches. And she was like, not even.
Tara, if you love me,
not even. No. And then the nurse was like, look, she's like she's freaking out. She's like, doctor, I don't know what's going on. His nails is growing super fast. Every time I cut it, it grows back. And he was like, okay. It's like, let's do it again. So they grabbed pliers, yeah, and they actually cut these motherfuckers like off. And the next day when they come in, that shit grew 20 inches long. So that it wasn't even curled up to here now. It was curled all the way down. And they were like freaking out, like, what the hell? So they kept trying to cut it as much as they could. And he was just starting going psycho, like he was trying to kill himself and stuff like that. So they had to put him in the psych ward part of the hospital, yeah?
Yeah.
So they had bars on the doors and stuff like that. They had to lock the doors so that they had to keep stuff away from him because he was just doing anything he could to kill himself.
Something touched me.
And then one day... Okay?
No, I'm serious. Like, touch me on the shoulder.
No, so one day...
I'm serious.
Shut up.
So one day...
No, shut up, because I heard something in the house. So somebody gotta
calm
turn
down.
the light
Just
on.
Brittany, I like when Brittany.
I'm almost
Nothing,
done.
it was
I
the
swear.
neighbors. They closed the doors.
I'm almost
The
done.
car
So-
doors. I was just joking.
So one day, when the nurse came in, you know, for the usual feeding for him, she opens the door, and he's not in his bed.
Wait.
She's like, oh my gosh, where is he? So she's running around in the room, you know, went inside the bathroom to see. And then she notices the bedroom window, you know, how I told you guys it had bars?
Mm-hmm.
It was like all sliced off. And she was like, what the fuck? Like, she was freaking out, and they're like, they were trying to let people know that he's missing, right? Now, remember how I told you he lived in a house in the middle of nowhere, right? So there's this you know, there's a lot of houses in the mainland that are like that, yeah? One house over here in the middle of nowhere, there's another house miles away by itself too. So one day this girl, she lives in this road, like
Shit. I can't
in the
hear
woods, and she's just walking down.
She don't play music.
She's at school. She's coming home from school, and she's walking.
Shit.
And it's
Shut
almost like nighttime, yeah. So it's getting pretty dark. So she's walking, and then then she starts hearing this sound.
Oh.
You have to make the sound.
And then she was just like, okay, this is kind of weird.
You have to
She
make the sound.
She starts like walking faster, right? And all she hears is,
Oh, you don't have to make the sound that's scarier.
and then she's like, oh my gosh, okay, this is kind of freaky, you know? And she starts running.
Oh my
and all
god,
you hear is,
oh shit, that's scary.
and then she's like, oh, she's on the doorsteps, you know, walking up, you know, the steps to her house, and as soon as she grabs the freaking doorknob, then
Oh my god.
I knew she was gonna scream. I knew it.
I know, but
You guys are so like.
just to let you know, it's not real.
Everybody scream. You guys are so gay.
After my cousin told me that story, okay, I couldn't use the fucking barbershop for me.
This nigga screamed like a girl. His name is Sunny. I didn't scream. That was Caleb. No, it wasn't. And this nigga too.
I don't know.
His name is MJ.
No, it was this nigga.
And this nigga too. His name is Caleb.
think it's over since everybody's laughing.
And Brittany and Carol.
No, but for real,
I did not scream.
I'm the strongest thing.
Me too. I didn't scream. I didn't
Boom,
scream.
I did not scream. I put it on everything. I put it on. No, I promise on I put it on everything. I had my hand in this camera and I was like this.
Open the door.
I had it on this. Y'all are weak.
So we're gonna sing songs
Y'all are
now.
weak.
It's not even a. That's not even
I don't give a
scary.
fuck.
Was that scary?
I'm gonna have it in my dream.
You want me to? No, but for real,
Want me to tell you touch my shoulder?
No.
If
Shut up,
something
wait
hit-
to talk.
No! Caleb's hands are right here on my leg.
His hand was over
Something touched my
here.
shoulder.
Sorry.
That wasn't you.
You want me
He
to
cannot
tell
tell
you
you
scary
You
stories?
probably touched your own
I
shoulder.
cannot have a scary story like
Turn
that.
this light
Oh,
off.
but that was pretty scary because he was running with his nails.
Yeah, of course. That was the whole point of the story. Okay.
I'm scared.
So I'll tell you.
No, we're not listening to your story.
You can turn it off now, Britt.
Hey,
So-
turn on the light.
Let me tell you.
Turn that light off.
Turn that light on.
A real
Turn
scary.
that light on.
Don't scream, okay? Shut up, you guys want to make it worse, you dumbass.
Go turn that light on.
Fuck Carol.
Alright, everybody say bye.
Bye.
How you like my story?
Bye, crybaby.
Aki, wrong.
Hey, don't go outside. What the hell
Bye.
happened with you? Boy,